I can't be very detail specific here, due to the nature of my job. But I would try my best to communicate the story as best that I can. I work in the cybercrimes division of a law enforcement agency. That's about as specific as I can get. And I want to be clear here. Most of the stories that you read about dark web are outright fabrications. The tales of the red rooms and stories of hiring hitmen are practically universally untrue. Most crime takes place on your normal everyday web. One Tuesday afternoon, though, I got a call saying there was a new case for me. Well, the officer on the other end of the call didn't seem to be too sure that it was a case for me, but wanted me to have a look anyway. I went down to talk to two young boys. Both of them were teenagers, likely still in high school. I was wondering what this was all even about, when one of them started blabbering about something they got off the dark web. Apparently the two of them were doing a TikTok or YouTube challenge. I can't care to remember which one it was, but they were looking for things to buy off the dark web. Again, honestly, there's very little actual shady activity that goes on the dark web. Unless you want to buy drugs. So the two of them were mainly disappointed. Until they found a site that sold books. One of which they bought. I was at the end of the book in question. I put on a pair of gloves and flipped through it. It was filled with photos of a young lady. Initially, they were of her smiling in locations such as that of a meadow or city square. Though, as it went on, they became more provocative, for lack of a better term. She began wearing outfits like a maid uniform or a cat girl cosplay, and the last few photos were of her wearing nothing. Is this all you wanted to show me? I asked, wondering what the fuss was about. It was that I was handed a card, one that had come with the book. It said, "Thank you for your purchase, dear customer." Inside you can find a treasure trove of photos of a young girl, though that's not all that's special about this book. To make sure that it is truly one of a kind, we made sure that you could get the full experience. The book is bound with her skin, so feel free to gently caress the leather as you think of her. Again, thank you for your purchase. At this point, I should probably mention, for those who might be unaware, what anthropomorphic bibliography is. It's the name for the practice of binding a book with human skin. I probably don't need to say this, but that's highly illegal. Even assuming the skin was from a carnivore, you'd run into laws dealing with human remains and such. This card, though, from what was written on it, it was made to sound as if the skin had been taken from the girl while she was alive. Well, either that or she had been killed and then skinned specifically to make this book. I thought the whole thing was an elaborate joke. My first hunch was that the two boys were in on it, but they seemed too scared for it to be a hoax on their end, and I interviewed the two of them separately, and, well, their stories added up. Alright. Perhaps they were telling the truth. But that didn't mean that the book was really bound with human skin. Even if it felt like leather, it was mostly, well, most likely, an animal leather, and all this added for flavor. I told the officer in charge of the case just that and said that there was no real need to investigate further. Though I did give the younger boys a warning regarding buying things off of sketchy websites. And that's when the case ended. Or so I thought. As it turns out, the officer in charge of the case decided that, on the off chance that it was real, to get the book tested. And it turned out the leather binding the book was, as a matter of fact, from human skin. As you can imagine, interest in the case surged after that. We were dealing with a potential murder case now, and we called the two boys back. I was also brought back on board to try to get the root of things, and I was able to get the tour address of the site that they used. Unfortunately, all I got was an error message when I used that link. I did some more sleuthing and, well, that got me nowhere. Frustrated, I turned to other sources for help, but there was little progress that I was able to make. Further analysis of the skin revealed that it did belong to a woman, and one of Caucasian descent, which all lined up with what I saw in the photographs. But there was little else that forensics could do, as the process of preparing the leather made many tests unviable. A DNA test of the skin didn't reveal anything, and we searched far and wide to see if anyone recognized the girl in those photos. Still no match to date. The case was about to turn cold when I managed to find an unexpected lead on a forum I caught wind of someone else who had purchased a similar book and was confused regarding the veracity of what was claimed about it. It was 3 states over, but we managed to track down the poster, who was a woman who had bought it out of morbid curiosity. Forensic testing revealed the cover was made of human skin as well. She had a different tour link though, one which I tried, and this one actually worked. The site by itself was nothing very impressive. It was as basic as could be, but kind of like old sites back in the 2000s. I would have thought that it was a cheap prank based off this alone, but the 2 cases made me hold back my skepticism. I took screenshots of the websites and confirmed with the 2 boys who first came to us that this was the site we were looking for. Both of the books had been mailed from fake addresses from mailboxes within large cities, so there was little to go on there. Given this, we decided to try the site for ourselves, and I placed an order, only for nothing to turn up. If anything, what happened was that the site's URL no longer worked. And it's here where things took a sinister turn. One of the boys, the one who had actually ordered the book, went missing one day. He was coming back home from school and then, well, there was no further trace of him. A manhunt for months came up with nothing, until one day the other boy came up to us saying that someone had delivered a piece of paper to his house. It wasn't a normal piece of paper. It was a roll of parchment. Testing later revealed that the skin was human, and the DNA testing showed that it was from the boy who had gone missing. Upon it was written with what was later confirmed to be blood were the words, "Stay out of our business." I don't like to admit this, but that single incident spooked me beyond anything I'd ever encountered. I'm not really used to being in the line of fire. Yeah, I know I'm part of a law enforcement, but my work is usually done behind a computer screen. I didn't catch a wink of sleep for 3 nights after we confirmed what it was. I vividly remember how this mother broke down in tears when we gave her the news. There are no more leads aside from that anyway, and I honestly want nothing more to do with the case anymore. People who would gladly skim someone and use that skin are not people I want to be in close contact with. Well, the case might be over, but I'm leaving this here as a general warning. Do not buy things off the dark web, even if it's more likely a joke than not, because sometimes they might not be kidding.